The top stories tonight in Y News. A contentious measure lowering the legal smoking age for e-cigarettes from 21 to 18 has become a law. The Department of Agriculture will likely be one of the top 5 departments to receive the biggest allocation under the proposed 5.2 trillion peso national budget next year. The Furigay family has refuted Dr. Chow Tiao's Yumo's claim that they are involved in illegal drug operations. The Department of Health plans to increase the current 7 public health laboratories to 30 by 2030. Good evening, Philippines and the world. Today is Tuesday, July 26, 2022. Join us in the next hour as we deliver today's top stories around the Philippines and in other parts of the world. I am Hardin Delgado. We are also seen in 1,935 satellite monitoring centers nationwide and via live streaming worldwide through the UNTV News and Rescue social media accounts. First in the news. The Vaporized Nicotine and Non-Nicotine Products Regulation Act, ratified by Congress in January, has lapsed into law. The new law reduced the age at which people can purchase and use e-cigarettes and vapes from 21 to 18. Nel Maribuhok has the story.
Press Secretary Trixie Cruz Angeles has confirmed that the controversial vape bill became law on July 25. The measure defines rules for the importation, fabrication, sale, packaging, distribution, use, and communication of vape products and novel tobacco products. Additionally, it transfers the regulation of the vape products from the Food and Drug Administration to the Department of Trade and Industry. The said law also lowers the age access from 21 to 18 years old. Senator Pia Cayetano voiced disappointments at the bill's passage in Congress and the President's decision not to veto it. She claimed it won't be fair to the millions of lives that the vape law will put in harm's way. Meanwhile, Senator Sani Angara has his own theory as to why President Ferdinand Bongbong Marcos Jr. allowed the aforementioned bill to become law.
Well, I think the vape bill was passed with the vote of an overwhelming majority. 20 plus yata ang bumoto pabor dyan. So, siguro si Presidente just let it lapse into law para, di ba, wala siyang nakitang masama, pero hindi rin siya pabor doon. Yun ang interpretation ko, kaya hindi niya pinirmahan, di ba?
The Departments of Health, Education, and dozens of medical associations have strongly rallied against its passage because they believe it puts the youth at risk to the harmful effects of vapes and e-cigarettes. Nel Maribuhok, UNTV News and Rescue, we serve the people, we give glory to God.
The 2023 national budget is being finalized by the Budget Department, and Agriculture is one of the top 5 departments with the highest allocation. Ray Pelayo reports why.
Education, health, social safety nets, infrastructure, and agriculture are the top 5 departments that will receive bigger chunks of the 2023 budgets, as mentioned by Budget Secretary Amena Pangandaman during the economic briefing of the Marcos administration in PICC earlier. The officer stated that at their upcoming cabinet meeting on Thursday, they plan to present the 5.268 trillion pesos 2023 budget to President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. In his first State of the Nation address, the President emphasized the need to concentrate on agriculture in order to lessen the effects of the food crisis.
In the prior years kasi, the Department of Agriculture parang nasa bottom of the top 10. But now we'll try to push it sa top 5 natin.
This is what the Agriculture Department has to say.
We're very happy that with the sufficient budget allocation now that will be given to the department, we'll be providing more services to our farmers and fisherfolk.
Lawmakers are set to collaborate with the government to pass the national budget for the upcoming year.
Gusto talaga natin, dahil bago nga administrasyon, gusto natin na on time natin maipapasa before January 1 ang budget.
The administration's economic team thinks that continuing infrastructure projects is one of the steps that may be taken to aid in the recovery of the economy. This will also aid in job creation, according to Finance Secretary Benjamin Jokno.
It will broaden the economy. It will make the economy bigger, di ba? When you connect point A to point B, lahat na tadaanan nun magde-develop yun.
Government officials are also urging digitalization in order to make services easier for the general public. Ray Pilayo, UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people. We give glory to God.
The State of the Nation address by President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. received a high grade from political analyst Professor Antonio Contreras. He claims that the specifics the president mentioned in his first SONA satisfy him. Rosalie Cons will tell us why.
On a scale of 1 to 10, with 10 being the highest, political analyst Professor Antonio Contreras gave a very high grade to President Ferdinand Marcos Jr.'s first State of the Nation address. He said that he was content with the information provided by the president, particularly the current state of the Philippines, the objectives he wanted to accomplish for the nation in the following 6 years, and his priority bills that he wanted the Congress to pass.
Natanong na ako diyan kanina, 9.2. Point pa. Hindi siya 9 point. Hindi kasi may mga disagreement kasi ako.
He further emphasized that President BBM SONA has highlighted the need for the government to offer social support to the most vulnerable sectors of the nation, like migrant workers, single parents, farmers, and others without access to the healthcare system.
Basically, these OFWs or migrant workers are leaving their homes to go out and serve others. So he's saying, sabi ni Pangulong Marcos, let the government be your home. Nung marinig ko, sabi ko, that is a very powerful statement. Sabi ko, suporta niya sa mga single parent. Doon sa mga suporta niya sa mga landless farmers or doon sa mga nababaon sa utang.
Professor Contreras, however, disagreed with a few of the points made by PBBM in his SONA, such as ROTC or the Compulsory Reserve Officers Training Corps. Rosalie Coz, UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people, we give glory to God.
The two-member Senate minority bloc finds the very first State of the Nation address or SONA of President Ferdinand Bongbong Marcos Jr. lacking of several pressing issues. But for another lawmaker, the president's first address to the nation was comprehensive. This report will tell us why. The Senate minority senators point out some missing points in the first State of the Nation address or SONA of President Ferdinand Bongbong Marcos Jr. Senate Minority Leader Aquilino Coco Pimentel III says he waited for the issues on the country's justice system and human rights to be mentioned in the speech. He also expected that the president's priority measures will be focused on agriculture and food production.
Sa dami rin naman ang problema ng bansa, definitely hindi niya madidiscuss lahat yun. Pero akala ko ba ang priority niya ay agriculture o pagkain, the production of food. Kaya nga siya mismo ang magiging secretary, acting secretary ng Department of Agriculture. But if you look at the 19 priority legislative measures, parang shotgun eh. Hindi po siya laser sana at least majority doon o marami doon nakafocus like a laser on food production.
The Senate leader also noted that Marcos Jr.'s call for right-sizing lacked details, calling them all motherhood statements. The national government right-sizing program topped the list of the 19 priority bills that Marcos requested to Congress to pass. Meanwhile, Senator Risa Hontiveros finds the anti-corruption plans of the president lacking. The senator says there was no clear vision in the president's SONA, describing it as window shopping.
Sangkatutak ang plano ng admin, lalo na sa infrastructure. At kung mapupondohan ang mga yan, makakakita na naman ng oportunidad ang mga magnanakaw. Hindi natin afford mag-aksaya ng panahon ngayong pandemya. Kaya, ang pinagdarasal ko, wag naman sana ito isa na namang case ng over-promise, under-deliver.
The minority senators pointed out that the 19 legislative agenda of the president were nothing new. Senator Sonny Angara says many of the proposed bills have been pending for years in previous Congresses, including the National Land Use Act and the Department of Water Resources. Despite this, the lawmaker was impressed with the president's first address to the nation.
Sa akin, komprehensibo yung speech ni President Marcos. Every year, every SONA naman merong parang may 1 or 2 issues na hindi na natatouch. Pero sa akin, parang 99% nandun na sa speech niya, di ba?
Angara says there is a high chance that all the 19 priority bills of Marcos Jr. would be passed by the current Congress, but assures that it will undergo scrutiny in the upper chamber.
Although definitely malaki ang suporta dyan. Pero alam niyo naman, yung mga ibang senador talagang very independent. May sariling pananaw din minsan. So, ang expectation ko talagang pag-uusapan, pagdidebate, talaga nang mabuti itong mga panukalang batas.
Horilyn Delgado, UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people. We give glory to God. The House of Representatives said that it will move quickly on the priority bills that President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. outlined in his first State of the Nation address. Aileen Cerudo will tell us why.
10 of the President's 19 priority bills have already received approval for the third and final reading under President Rodrigo Duterte's administration. Albay 2nd District Representative Joey Salceda stated that the lower chamber of Congress would make sure to fulfill its obligations by passing laws that the President has prioritized. The National Government Right-Sizing Program, or House Bill 419, which aims to restructure government agencies and streamline their services, was one of the 10 bills approved for the third and final reading. Packages 3 and 4 of the tax reform bills, the E-Government Act, and the Internet Transaction Act are also approved bills. The third reading of House Bill number 7749, known as the Guide Act, which aims to strengthen the government's financial institution, is also approved. House Deputy Speaker and Davao City 3rd District Representative Isidro Yungab says the priority bills of President Marcos can be fast-tracked.
With the presentation of the President kahapon, it was a clear path and a direction that we could follow, and I believe it's both implementable and we will be able to come up or craft the necessary legislation that would expedite the implementation of these plans and programs of the President.
He also said that Congress will be ready to discuss or conduct debates in the plenary regarding the filed bills.
The rules of the House will of course be followed na pag napasa na in the previous Congress, so pwede nang diretso sa plenary.
Meanwhile, House Speaker Leyte 1st District Representative Martin Romualdez supports the President plan for the country. He said it was prudent for President to focus on fiscal policies, food security, and recovering the economy from the effects of COVID-19 pandemic. Among the proposed law are the National Government Right-Sizing Program, the Budget Modernization Bill, and the Land Tax Reform Bill. Aileen Cerudo, UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people. We give glory to God.
3 people were killed and 2 else were wounded in shootings near Vancouver, Canada. Before being shot and killed by police, a gunman allegedly opened fire at a casino, a shelter for the homeless, and other locations. Beverly Saison reports.
In a shooting spree in Langley, a town southeast of Vancouver, Canada, in the early hours on Monday, 3 people are dead, including the suspected gunman, while 2 others are wounded. Police killed the suspect, who was identified by investigators as Jordan Daniel Goggin, a resident in the neighboring town of Surrey. Earlier reports indicated that the gunman may have targeted homeless people, but this was not confirmed. The police have yet to identify a possible motive or connection of the suspect to the victims. Langley's Mayor Val Van Den Broek said in a news conference that as far as she knows, this is an isolated incident. She added, the government is doing everything they can to help people. Mass shootings are less common in Canada than in the United States. It is illegal to possess an unregistered handgun or any kind of rapid-fire weapon in the country. Beverly Saison, UNTV. News and Rescue. We serve the people. We give glory to God.
For the next 12 months, Sri Lanka will be restricting its fuel imports, according to Kanchana Wijesekera, Sri Lanka's Minister for Power and Energy, yesterday in a tweet. This is due to shortage of foreign exchange as a result of economic mismanagement, as well as the impact of the pandemic in the country. This is among the initial plans that Sri Lanka's new president, Ranil Wickremesinghe, will take to revive the country's economy. According to Manoj Gupta, managing director of Lanka IOC, Sri Lanka's second largest fuel retailer, they will import 2 fuel shipments of around 30,000 tons each in August. Aside from seeking help from its allies India and China, Sri Lanka is also in talks with the International Monetary Fund, or IMF, of a bailout package up to $3 billion. We'll share more global stories with you later, but for now, back to you, Herlene.
Thank you, Cass. Authorities have seized a .45 caliber pistol from the suspect in the shooting rampage that took place at Ateneo de Manila on Sunday and claimed the lives of 3 people, among them former Lamitan City Mayor Rosita Furigay. The gun that was taken was registered under an active Mindanao soldier. Leia Ilagan filed this report.
The Philippine Army affirms that the .45 pistol confiscated by authorities from the suspect in the shooting incident at Ateneo de Manila University is a personal firearm owned by an active soldier by the name of First Lieutenant Jeremy Aquino. According to Army spokesperson Colonel Sorces Trinidad, Aquino mentioned that he lost his firearm since 2019 while he was deployed in Patikul, Sulu.
Nagulat siya. He was really shocked kasi yung firearm, yung pistol niya was nawawala way back 2019 pa. So, hindi na nga niya na makita, and then ngayon, bigla siya nagulat. At least lumitaw daw yung baril niya, alam niya na kung na kanino.
Colonel Trinidad said the Army will conduct an internal investigation on the matter and will as well as participate in the PNP's investigation of the incident.
We will be launching our internal investigation on that matter. So hindi natin ma-identify yan because although the officer is already in our custody.
Colonel Trinidad adds First Lieutenant Aquino is a member of the 12th Mechanized Infantry Company, 1st Mechanized Infantry Battalion, and the 1st Mechanized Infantry Brigade of Armor Division deployed in Sultan Kudarat. QCPD Director Police Brigadier General Ramos Medina priorly identified First Lieutenant Aquino as the owner of the pistol that was seized in the belongings of Dr. Chow Tiao Yumol, the suspect in the murder of former Lamitan City Mayor Rose Furigay and 2 other individuals. Leia Ilagan, UNTV, News and Rescue. We serve the people. We give glory to God.
The family of former Basilan Mayor of Lamitan City, Rosita Furigay, is positive for a quick trial and finally justice for their loved ones. However, the legal counsel for the Furigay family has refuted Dr. Chow Tiao Yumol's claim that they are involved in illegal drug operations. Dante Almento will tell us why live. Yes, Dante?
Good evening, Herlene. Dr. Chow Tiao Yumol, the suspect in the shooting at the Ateneo de Manila University, has already been charged with several cases in the Quezon City Prosecutor's Office. The family of former Lamitan City Mayor Rosita Furigay is waiting for the case's resolution so that this can be officially filed in court. Furigay's legal counsel, Attorney Quirino S. Guerra, said the family is optimistic that justice will be served quickly.
Na-inquest na ang gunman, si Dr. Chow Chow Yumol ng Office of the City Prosecutor this morning. Ang na-file na kaso po ay multiple murder and frustrated murder.
Yumol is now under police custody. Furigay, her daughter, and aide Victor Capistrano were shot by him before he was captured. Attorney Esguerra added Capistrano was one of the suspect's targets due to legal issue.
Si Victor Capistrano ay talagang binaril din niya kasi isa rin ito sa complainant sa cyber libel case na pending sa Regional Trial Court Branch 10 Davao City.
E-waiver was signed instead by one of the victims, Julia Manabat, who refused to file cases against Yumol.
Nag-waiver na siya at hindi na daw siya magpupurso ng kaso pa. Ng bala sa shoulder. Yung anak niya nag-attend ng graduation sa Ateneo.
Meanwhile, in an interview with the program Ito Ang Balita, Attorney Esguerra denied the suspect's allegation that the former mayor and her family were involved in illegal drugs operations.
Wala pong katotohanan. Hawak-hawak ko po sa ngayon ang isang certification galing po sa PIDEA na walang kaso na droga o kinalaman sa droga si former Mayor Rosita Purigay, pati si Mayor Roderick Purigay, who was her vice mayor at that time. Nag-issue din po ng certification ang PDEG o Philippine Drug Enforcement Group regarding this matter na wala silang record involving drugs.
Former Mayor Purigay's remains and those of her assistant are at the Cosmopolitan Memorial Chapels. Condolences were extended by the Mayor's League of the Philippines and former Vice President Leni Robredo, among others. It is anticipated that Purigay's wake would be moved to Lamitan City this week. Back to you, Herlene.
Thank you, Dante Amento, reporting live from Quezon City.
A parliamentary committee report has flagged that the health and social care workforce in England is experiencing its worst staffing crisis. Mavian Dog will tell us why live. Yes, Maeve?
Kath, the Health and Social Care Select Committee's report published on Monday says that England's National Health Service, or NHS, is facing its greatest workforce crisis in history due to a large number of unfilled job vacancies. Research suggests that England NHS could be short of 12,000 hospital doctors and over 50,000 nurses and midwives, and by the early part of the next decade, Kath, 450,000 extra jobs are needed in health and 490,000 jobs in social care as the demand for these sectors continues to grow. Concerningly, high rates of harassment and abuse are factors affecting staff shortages in England. In the last 12 months, 28% of staff reportedly experienced at least one incident of bullying. They also found that between March 2021 and March 2022, 552 midwives left their profession, raising concerns about maternity services. Former Health Secretary and Chair of the committee Jeremy Hunt said that the persistent understaffing poses a serious risk to patient safety, and that a long-term workforce plan to recruit more and retain staff should be a top priority for the new Prime Minister taking over in September. Meanwhile, a spokesman for the Health and Social Care Department stated that recruitment drives for nurses by 2024 and maternity services, along with the development of social care workforce, are underway. Back to you, Kath.
Thank you, Mavian Dog, for that live report. Russia's top diplomat seeks to stop Ukraine's unacceptable regime and free its people. Marvido Finn will tell us why live. Marvi?
Kath, Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov's remark is directed towards the Ukrainian people's liberation from President Volodymyr Zelensky's regime, whose government Lavrov says is anti-people and anti-historical. Lavrov's recent address goes against what the Kremlin initially said during the start of the war, when they declined the intention of overthrowing Zelensky's government. Now it is suggested that Russia's war aims will extend beyond the Donbas regions in its attempt to gain more control in the far eastern and southern regions of Ukraine. The announcement also comes after the recent deal between the two countries, agreeing to reactivate Ukraine's grain and fertilizer exports from its Black Sea ports to address global food shortages. Russia was accused of instigating the deal through a weekend attack on one of Odessa's ports. Moscow replied that the attack was towards a Ukrainian naval vessel and that the grain deal will not necessarily stop military attacks. Yuri Vaskov, Ukraine's deputy infrastructure minister, confirmed the first grain shipment is already set this week. In other developments, Russia's Gazprom will further cut gas supply to Europe down to 20% capacity, which Ukraine calls a gas blackmail said to instill fear and divide Europe over which nation to support. Kath?
Thank you, Marvi Delfin reporting live. NASA, in partnership with aircraft manufacturer Lockheed Martin, is paving the way for a new generation of quiet supersonic airplanes. Ia De Vera will give us the details live. Ia?
Kath, the program Quest, which stands for Quiet Supersonic Technology, is centered around the aircraft called X-59, which NASA believes will produce a much quieter than any other supersonic aircraft that exists today. This is due to the X-59's sleek shape, with a length of almost 100 feet long and a wingspan of only around 29 feet. Its distinguishing feature is the nose, which is about a third of the aircraft's length. According to NASA, the X-59 will produce just 75 decibels of sound while flying at supersonic speeds, compared to the 105 decibels of the first supersonic passenger aircraft and now suspended Concorde. Mr. Nicole says this is equivalent to the sound of a distant thunder or someone shutting a car door from a distance and will not startle people. Kath, the program will be engaging with the public to conduct test flights over residential communities in the United States in 2024. Feedback from the public on whether the 75 decibel boom is acceptable will be gathered and presented to the International Civil Aviation Organization in 2028 to convince them to update aircraft noise regulations. Kath?
Ia, can you tell us about the current regulations around supersonic aircrafts?
Yes, Kath. Current international regulations prohibits speed of over Mach 1 or the speed of sound for commercial transport to avoid disturbance of sonic booms over inhabited areas. The X-59 is expected to fly at an altitude of 55,000 feet at Mach 1.4. Back to you, Kath.
Thank you, Ia De Vera, for that live report. And those are the reasons behind the news in other parts of the globe. I'm Kat Tumaraos, live from Bangkok, Thailand. Good evening.
The Agrarian Reform Department expects the issuance of the executive order for the one-year amortization moratorium for farmers within the week. The agency is also tapping schools for a new breed of farmers and provide farms within the year. Asher Kadapan Jr. details why live. Yes, Asher.
Harleen, President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. emphasizes on intensifying agricultural production in the country in his first State of the Nation address. To help the farmers financially, the government plans to implement a one-year moratorium to suspend the amortization of farmers, particularly the Agrarian Reform beneficiaries. Agrarian Reform Secretary Conrado Estrella III says its implementation just needs an executive order from President Marcos.
Kung hindi ako nagkakamali, ang gusto ng ating Pangulo, itong linggong ito, mapirmahan na yung EO. Oo. Seryoso talaga ang ating mahal na Pangulo pagdating dito sa sa agrikultura.
DAR, however, hopes to implement the condemnation currently being passed through Congress as a prelude to the moratorium. Meanwhile, the DAR chief added that the Marcos administration would like to speed up the implementation of comprehensive agrarian reform law. This provides pieces of land mostly for a new breed of farmers, particularly those who have graduated a 4-year agricultural degree, but without their own farm. Secretary Estrella explains this will allow integration of modern technology for more efficient productivity in agriculture.
Gusto namin umpisahan na ito as soon as possible. Kaya kami ay makikipag-ugnayan na sa mga agricultural schools, no? Agricultural colleges.
Arlene, aside from farms for cropping, DAR will also provide financial assistance and other support services to help the farmers. Arlene?
Thank you, Ashra Kadapan Jr. reporting live. On the occasion of his first State of the Nation address, President Ferdinand Bongbong Marcos Jr. requires a more robust healthcare system. Accordingly, the Department of Health supports PBBM and claims that one aspect of this is the prioritization of additional public health laboratories around the nation. Eileen Cerudo reports why.
The Philippines has a total of 7 public health laboratories. The Research Institute for Tropical Medicine or RITM and 6 other sub-national laboratories serve as the primary public health reference laboratory. The Department of Health sees the importance of having more public health laboratories in the upcoming years due to the emergence and re-emergence of infectious diseases like COVID-19 and monkeypox.
In support of the directives of the President, we are going to have the Philippine Center for Disease Control, whereby we are going to have high-level technical capacity, hiring experts, hiring scientists, so that we can be able to better manage emerging and re-emerging diseases. And we are aiming that we will have around 30 of these public health laboratories eventually by 2030.
This is also consistent with President Ferdinand Bongbong Marcos Jr.'s pledge to provide access to healthcare facilities nationwide. PBBM also emphasized the need for an extensive medical research and development of locally produced vaccines. The Duterte administration allocated more than $280 million to fund the Viral Science and Technology Institute of the Philippines or VIP. According to DOST, plans to produce vaccines locally were made in 2011 but were hampered in 2015 due to a lack of funding. Eileen Cerudo, UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people. We give glory to God.
The Department of Health today announced the launch of the Pinas Lakas program, which aims to intensify and accelerate the nation's vaccination drive by positioning vaccination sites close to communities. JP Nunez reports.
The Department of Health stressed that the current administration is pushing for a massive booster vaccination of citizens who have received the COVID-19 vaccine in order to prevent hospitalization and death despite potential surgical increases. With this agenda, the Health Department launches the nationwide Pinas Lakas campaign, which focuses on increasing the country's booster rate.
Upang palawakin ang bilang ng mga Pilipino na mabibigyan pa ng proteksyon, inilulunsad po natin ngayong araw na to ang ating bagong kampanya laban sa COVID-19. Sa Boosters, Pinas Lakas.
According to Undersecretary for Health Maria Rosario Vergere, the government wants to establish vaccination sites close to the community. This will be set up in terminals, markets, schools, plazas, offices, and places of worship.
Ilalapit po natin ngayon ang ating pagbabakuna sa ating komunidad, sa ating mga kababayan. Katulad po ng direktiba ng ating Pangulo kagabi sa kanyang State of the Nation address, sinabi niya, ilapit natin ang serbisyo sa ating mga kababayan. Gayon din po ang gagawin natin.
The program's timeline will follow President Ferdinand Bongbong Marcos Jr.'s first 100 days in office. Around 400,000 Filipinos need to receive vaccinations daily to reach the goal of 23 million, which will boost the population after 100 days. The DOH believes that this can be accomplished with the same effort and campaign as last year. only 15.8 million of the more than 71 million fully immunized Filipinos as of today received at least the first booster dose. JP Nunez, UNTV, News and Rescue. We serve the people, we give glory to God.
Our kasangbahay, as the world faces these trying times amid the pandemic caused by coronavirus, we are inviting everyone to join the global prayer for humanity from Monday to Friday, 9:30 p.m. Philippine time through the social media accounts of Members Church of God International. And before we close, we will leave you with a word, giving glory to God. From the book of John, chapter 15, verses 13 to 14, it says, "Greater love hath no man than this, that a man lay down his life for his friends. Ye are my friends, if ye do whatsoever I command you." And those are the reasons behind the news, July 26, 2022. Reasons we deliver to you as they unfold, because we need to know. We will always ask why. I am Harleen Delgado. We serve the people. We give glory to God.